So the lack of York is certainly not going to help matters. On the forward side of things, obviously the Flyers remain out without Tyson Forster for the next 2 to 3 months, according to Danny Briere. What have you seen initially, I guess, out of the Grabenkins of the world, and what do you think ultimately they're going to do over this next 2 to 3 month period? Do you see them going out, making an acquisition? Do you think that they're going to look to fill that spot internally? Where do you land?
Well, I think they want to look at first at moving Grabenkin up in the lineup, see what he can do. You know, last game was his first chance to really play in the top 9. Had a pretty good game doing it. Has to sustain that. You know, there are still things. You know, he needs to play.
Yeah,
right. He needs to play. I understand why he's sad at times because he gets a little lost on the ice sometimes. And you know, sometimes with the communication side, it's weird to say this, but like he knows just enough English to not admit that he doesn't know much English.
Yeah,
you know, because I do think that some things have to be repeated over and over and over to him. But the only way to learn is by doing.
Yeah.
So he has the first opportunity. I mean, they made a conscious decision that Alex Bump was not ready to be called up.
Yep.
You know, at some point, you know, maybe he gets the next shot.
Yeah. You know what cracks me up, by the way, about Grabenkin? Like when you're talking about the fluency thing.
Yeah.
Because you and I are both, you know, multilingual guys up here on the panel.
Yeah.
My favorite thing is that Grabenkin ends so many of his media availabilities or his quotes with "Let's go Flyers."
Let's go Flyers. Yeah.
I just love that. It's like a beautiful linguistic tick at the end of things. It's just like
that's his exit.
I like opportunity. Let's go Flyers.
Yes.
Like brilliant.
Yeah.
I love it.
Perfect.
So you know, you mentioned Bump. Obviously, Danny was on the show last week and kind of shouted out Denver Barkey's play so far this season.
Yeah. Now, quick thing with Barkey. The organization likes him. I like him a lot too. You know, had a great junior career. I definitely see him as an NHL guy in the relatively near future. At a certain point, though, Russ, you know, they made a decision on the blue line, and understandably, I'm totally in favor of it. You know, Emil Andre was so much better than the other options.
Correct.
That they called him up. They're giving him a chance, and he's running with it.
Yep.
But at a certain point, you do have to consider what is your mix, right? Because Barkey is actually he's smaller than Rink, and so he's small, and Rink is small, and you know, Michkov is small, and keep going, right?
Yeah.
At some point, you have to.
I like to say vertically challenged. I feel personally
you
attacked here, Bill.
There you go.
We get that you're gifted vertically, but you know.
But anyway, but anyway, at a certain point, you're gonna have to make a decision. You know, is Brink part of your long-term solution here? I'm curious as to when Barkey has his opportunity, and do they see him as a top 9 guy or as a fourth line guy you could maybe move up occasionally? So, but he's off to a really good start.
I guess that's, you know, whenever we talk about size and we talk about like what this team is going to look like whenever they're ready to kind of flip that switch and try to compete and all that, I guess the counter back to, like, I understand conceptually, like, night in and night out, you don't want to have this, like, diminutive team. And at the same time, it's like you're kind of not doing due diligence on some of these guys if you don't give them the opportunity. Correct. And so it's like, you know, even Emil Andre, right? Like, there was that idea out there of, well, you know, they're already kind of small on the blue line. York's not exactly big. Drysdale's not big. Can you really roll with another one? And I'd say, well, yeah, I mean, if he's one of your best defensemen.
Yeah, if he's that much better than the other guys, you just live with it. You're on playoff matchups anyway. You got to get there in the first place to the postseason. Andre has been earning his stripes, and he earned that opportunity.
Yeah.
You know, up front they have a little more depth though to kind of figure out how do we want to match things up and those kind of things. Barkey's time will come. I'm just curious if it's going to be sooner than later.
I've not gotten any indication, at least in my chats, and I can't imagine you have either, that Barkey's even really on the radar for a call-up yet.
Not yet, no.
I mean, if you're maybe another injury or two away from it probably necessitating a real conversation about Bump. I think you're multiple injuries or a massive trade away from having to consider Barkey.
I would agree
at this point.
I'd agree.
There was a question here for Bill from Vineet Singh. Says, question for Bill. And I love Bill. We love Bill. That's what it says. With all of Martone, Luchenko, Bump, and maybe even Barkey needing roles with the big club next year, can any of them play on the fourth line like Coots did his rookie year?
Good question. I mean, that is an op. That is not. No, I don't see Martone.
Martone's not a fourth line guy.
Yeah. I mean,
I don't think they'd want to play Luchenko as a 4C.
No, he might start there though.
Yeah.
If the Flyers were to go out and get another center, start him in the fourth line and maybe move him up. That's a possibility.
Yeah.
Bump,
I don't think he'd bring Bump up to play fourth line.
Bump, I don't see the guy who can play in the fourth line.
Could there be a case to be made, like, you mentioned Bobby Brink. Could there be a thought there that maybe Brink would maybe be more likely to move down to the fourth line, and you'd bring Bump up and have him play third line minutes, maybe?
Well, but when you're thinking your fourth line guys, ideally, right? These guys who can kill penalties, things like that. I don't know if I want Brink as a regular penalty killer. Now at whatever point they decided, with Hathaway, right, who's still looking for his first point, those kind of things.
That's
right?
Unbelievable.
But at that point, maybe you change the mix around a little bit, and maybe there's an opportunity there, maybe for a guy to play in the fourth line. But that's a really good question and a fair question. You only have so many spots and so much power play time available to guys that who fits where.
I actually do want to ask you about Hathaway. He doesn't look right. He doesn't look like the same guy he was last year, and I think it's been a precipitous drop off. Like, I'm not saying he's done. I'm not saying that as an NHL player he's done. But you remember, like, Wayne Simmons came up on the show like a week or so ago, and with Bundy, and he was just like, "Yo, when Wayne Simmons was done, like, the play just went. Yeah. There wasn't like a gradual decline." I'm not saying that Hathaway's there yet, but like to have 0 points at this point in the season, I get it. Fourth line minutes, and like, I get the idea that he's a penalty killer for you, and that's valuable. But at the same time, if he's not impacting play in a meaningful way in the offensive zone at all,
right,
and maybe even as a net negative there, shouldn't you be able to have somebody else on this team kind of fill that role as a penalty killer, and maybe have somebody in the lineup who can actually help you in another element of the game?
Yeah, you have to have a discussion, right?
Yeah.
Who are your PK options? Moving ahead. Now, one thing they've done, of course, before Forster got hurt and whatever, is that he was killing penalties too.
Yeah.
I mean,
is there somebody that comes to mind to you right now that hasn't really been given that opportunity to play on the PK that you think, in theory, could be a good fit there?
I'm trying to think. I mean, a couple of years ago, giving him more PK. I mean, a couple of years ago, remember, Konechny led the world in shorthanded goals.
Yeah.
So he has killed penalties before and done, but he hasn't really been quite himself this year either.
Yeah.
But it could be an offensive-minded guy.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. That is an option. It doesn't have to just be a checker killing penalties. It's actually kind of nice to have that counter rush threat. I mean, at some point that's going to be Barkey. Barkey's will be a penalty killer.
So maybe that's part of the case of why. Well, I think we both agree that Bump probably outranks Barkey right now on the likely to get called up list. But I don't know. Maybe that is a conversation at some point that, like, if they, whenever that moment comes where you'd want to call a guy up, maybe that actually helps Barkey leapfrog Bump is to just see what he looks like on the PK. Okay.